Welcome in here, race fans. It is Sunday noontime here on the East Coast. Well, I guess it's really 1 o'clock, just after the lunchtime hour. We are here at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway for night number 4 of Not the Battle. Tonight it is 251 laps on the docket from this beautiful track here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The track was opened back in 1985 and has played host to many of the big NASCAR circuits. The Busch Grand National Series have been here, the ARCA cars, the K&N East machines, and the home of the Super Late Model and the Wheelin' All-American Tour. The Cars Tour also makes a stop, or did make a stop, here at the real-life Myrtle Beach Speedway. Myrtle Beach, unfortunately, has now closed its doors just in the last couple of months. So, unfortunately, we can't go to the real-life Myrtle Beach Speedway anymore, but right here on the iRacing.com platform, the track lives on virtually. I'm Roger Muth. I'll be your host here tonight, and alongside me, it's my great friend Al Smith. Al, it's going to be a great night of racing action here at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway.
It is. It all comes down to tonight's racing action. After 3 nights of racing, we have the Super Late Models center stage for 251 laps here tonight, Roger. I expect to see some great 2 and possibly 3 wide action around this Myrtle Beach Speedway.
Yeah, this track has put on a great show all week long. We started in the Legends machine on Thursday night. We went and raced the late model stocks on Friday. Just last night, we had the SK Modifieds out there onto the track, and now tonight, it's the big boys, the Super Late Models. One little twist here tonight, we will be able to get a caution flag at lap 125, or if one comes out in between there before lap 125, possibly 5 laps before. That is the halfway break tonight. That will group the cars back up. They will be able to come down pit road and get some fuel in the machines. But first, before we even get that far into it, we have to get through qualifying, and that will be coming up here next. Who will be able to snag the pole here at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway? Race fans, we got to thank you all, though, for tuning in here tonight on the Turn 3 Racing Network, and we got to thank all the fine sponsors behind the scenes that are making this weekend possible. We got to thank the fine folks over at Rike's Lawn Care and Scaping. Give your lawn the rake touch. You need it looking like Fenway Park, race fans. I've seen the pictures over on their website. It's in the description down below. You can have your front yard looking like the Boston Fenway outfield, where they have the Red Sox in the outfield. I mean, they could even put a beautiful picture of Al Smith in your yard. Whatever you need, Rikes can do it. Also, we got to thank the guys over at Barber Ford. They used Ford F-150s this week to tow all their machines to the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway. If you need a Ford, you need a Mustang, you need an F-150, head on over to Barber Ford. We also got to thank the guys over at the Dreamer Racing Series. They are the ones behind all the shows here this past week, and if it wasn't for Dustin and the crew over there and Brent, we wouldn't be able to bring you some of this great short track racing action. But we are, and we thank them. And of course, the guys over at BK Paints. They are your one-shop iRacing paint shop. You need a paint? You need to be looking good when you head onto the track? Well, BK Paints got your back. Head on over to BK Paints on Facebook, talk to Brent today, and get yourself a great-looking paint scheme. But Al, I believe qualifying is about to happen.
Yeah, the first car rolling out on this live qualifying session at the Studio 10 Wraps RS Trucking. Our number 1 out of Oakwood, Georgia. This is RS Center. He comes off turn number 4. He'll get the green flag for his first time lap.
So as he takes the qualifying green flag for the first time here tonight, as you see him right there in turns 1 and 2. There's the tricky spot of the night, turns 1 and 2. They got those little bit of turtle shells down there. And then turn 3 and 4 here, right against the inside wall. Those are going to be 2 tough spots here tonight. Lap number 1 for Center. Let's see what it's going to be. It's going to be a no time allowed lap number 1 for RS Center as he scraped the wall down the back straightaway right there at the Myrtle Beach logo sign on the wall. This is lap number 2 for Center. Let's see what it's going to throw down.
Come across the line, and it'll be an 18.09 for the 110 on the Oakwood, Georgia RS Center. He's your current pole sitter, as right now the second car coming out onto the speedway with a Be Happy Go Crazy number 911 out of Gilsum, New Hampshire. This is Brian Korlacki.
Korlacki the other night had himself a good top 5 run in the late model stock machine. He is back here tonight, and he is back on the timing and scoring sheets as he heads down into turn number 1 here tonight. 911 looking pretty strong down there. Never forget 911 on the backside of this 911 machine. It was a terrible day for all the citizens of the United States when that terrorist attack happened, but they all live on in memory here, and we never forget. Korlacki, though, not forgetting how to drive that car. He goes second on the speed charts. It was an 18.37 second lap number 1.
Let's see if lap number 2 is going to be quicker for Korlacki. He comes off turn number 4, gasses it up, and at the line will get the checkered flag. Korlacki will go a little bit quicker with an 18.36. That'll put him second overall out of the 2 cars so far in qualifying. Next driver coming out is the checkered flag auto supply. Car number 8 out of Leominster, Massachusetts. This is Rob Higgins.
Yeah, the Higgins Hill racer last night in the SK Modifieds had himself a top 5 run. He finished in the payday. Let's see if he can get himself a good qualifying start. He came into the night and he said he's a little outgunned, Al. He said this is not his style of car, but he said seat time is seat time, and he needs some of it.
Yeah, we see Higgins racing on Thursday nights with in the SK divisions right here, Roger. You broadcast that every Thursday night when that series is running. So Higgins in the green flag, he's on his first time lap. Very good competitor in the open wheel cars. Now throwing the fenders over it, we'll see what he can do here on lap number 1.
Lap 1 was actually an 18.78 second lap. Lap number 2 here as he comes out of turn number 4. It will be, let's see, a little bit quicker. It'll go 18.75 second lap for the driver out of Massachusetts, and that is the 3rd quickest driver of the 3 so far.
Yeah, the next driver out onto the speedway is the J&E Welding and Fabrication, car number 33 out of Taunton, Massachusetts. This is Ty Leclerc. Leclerc in car number 33.
Leclerc will come now off turn 4. He officially goes on to the timing and scoring sheets, as this will be his first time lap. The driver last night coming home with a second place finish in the SK race. He has raced all week long here for Not the Battle here at Myrtle Beach. So seat time has not been a factor for the driver of the 33, but that little bit of a wiggle is going to hurt him on lap number 1. It'll put him third quickest on the board and a little bit up the track and sideways out of turn 2.
Yeah, lap number 2 not going to be that good for Leclerc. He'll go ahead and finish it. He'll slide in to your number 3 position overall so far out of the 4 cars that have qualified. So that'll put Leclerc in your 3rd spot here after a troublesome lap number 2 for that driver. Now the next driver coming up onto the speedway in the Carbon Racing Solutions, S&M Automotive, Pembleton Forest Products, James Rivers Nurseries, car number 51M out of Mechanicsville, Virginia. This is Ryan Matthews.
Ryan Matthews, not a stranger to going quick in the super late model. You see him take a little bit of a different line than what some of the other competitors have so far here tonight. Matthews was way up against the fence there, almost like running on dirt. The Kyle Larson line through 3 and 4 before he took the green flag, but as soon as he went through turn 1, it was right back down to the bottom, right against the Turtles, and in 3 and 4, right against hugging that inside wall. Lap number 1 here for Ryan Matthews in the 51M as he comes across the stripe. It'll be the new quick time. Ryan Matthews to the top of the board, 17.93, second lap.
Matthews is going to go for lap number 2 to see if it'll be quicker here. He'll come off turn number 4. Checkered flag will wave from Barney the flagman. He'll scrape the wall, so it'll be a null and void lap here on lap number 2. But 17.93 is your new quick time for Ryan Matthews, the driver out of Mechanicsville, Virginia. Rolling out onto the speedway now in the Rike's Lawn and Landscaping, car number 15 out of Holland, Michigan, in the Barber Ford BK Paints entry. This is Dustin Slider.
Yeah, it's quite a mouthful, ain't it there, Al? I mean, Slider's got just about everything sliding on into the grid here as he comes through the start-finish line. He'll now take the green flag, and he'll haul it down into turn number 1. Beautiful-looking car there out of the BK Paint stable for Dustin and his crew. That Ford Mustang looking pretty sporty. It was about the 6th quickest on our practice session. Let's see where Dustin will come across the board here. It'll be 3rd quickest, actually. That's the quickest time he has turned all night long. It's an 18.16 second lap for Slider on lap number 1 as he'll go for lap number 2. He hauls it down into 3 and 4, and now he'll come out of turn number 4. Looking at the checkered flag here tonight, the Michigan driver gonna go just a tick slower, lap number 2.
Yeah, that's a tick slower, so Slider going to slide into your number 3 spot. Overall, everybody's still trying to chase down the 51M of Ryan Matthews. The next driver coming up onto the speedway. You see him on the backstretch into turn number 3 in the Barber Ford BK Paints, car number 112 out of Greensville, South Carolina. This is Devin Morgan. Devin Morgan out on the speedway under the green flag conditions.
Now, as he goes off into 1, he looked a little bit tighter down there in turn number 1, closer to the Turtles. He had one of the quicker times in our practice session just a couple moments ago. Will he be able to dip down into that low 18-second bracket? Let's take a look at the timing and scoring. Al, quick time out there, 17.93. It's actually a 9.27, and he'll just give it up after lap 1.
Yeah, lap number 1 going to be quickest over Ryan Matthews. So Morgan going with quick time in the BK Paints Barber Ford number 112. Next driver come up onto the speedway in the Lucas Oil Products, car number 18 out of Mentone, California. This is Austin Edwards. He was the winner of Friday night's late model stock division race. He comes off a turn number 4. Green flag is out. This is Austin Edwards out of California.
He just rolled out of bed and into the virtual iRacing simulator for himself as he does hail out of the California state out there. It's as far west as you can get here on the coast of the United States, and he will now try and put himself on the top of the leaderboards here. He had one of the quickest cars on Friday night. What will he be able to do here against some of the better super late model racers? It is P number 3 on lap number 1. It was a 17.96. Al, the track looks to be getting a little bit quicker here late into this qualifying session.
Yeah, the sunset's getting down, the lights are coming up, and he gets a little bit loose off turn number 4. It'll be a little bit of a slower time, So third quick for Austin Edwards. Now coming up onto the speedway, our fastest man in practice led the leaderboard in the Everett's Auto Parts, Bernier's Liquor, Modern Auto Body. Car number 72 out of East Bridgewater, Massachusetts. This is the Ryan Kuhn. Ryan Kuhn out onto the speedway. And Roger, he was fast Thursday night, picking up the season, night one win in the Legend Division. Here, this is Ryan Kuhn.
Yeah, Ryan Kuhn pretty much didn't have the car quite in the early stages there in the Legend Division, but then all of a sudden about the halfway point, the light kind of flicked on, and he kind of drove right through the field after all those positions he lost. We'll see here on lap 1. Al, another quick time here late into our qualifying session, a 17.88 second lap for Ryan Kuhn in that 72 machine.
Yeah, Ryan Kuhn was the 2020 Sarah Contender Champion. Here he comes off turn number 4. Checkered flag is out, and he'll go a little bit slower here, but Ryan Kuhn going to pick up our pole position here tonight. That'll be our 9th and final car here for qualifying.
So Ryan goes with the quick time. Rob Higgins has, we'll call it the back of the pack time for the time beings here. See if we can get a word in with a couple of these drivers before we do take to our main event here tonight. Qualifying is officially in the books, and as you can see that on the top of your timing and scoring ticker there, race fans, find where your favorite driver is running currently before we take the green flag and everything starts to get really jumbled up here. But as qualifying has ended, let's go down here trackside here and try and get a word in with one of our drivers. Rob Higgins, you got a copy? It's the guys up here in the booth.
I do. How you guys doing?
Well, we're doing pretty good up here. The Checker Flag Auto Supply car tonight going to qualify into the 9th position. It looks like maybe just a tick off here on the qualifying setup. What are you going to have to do here tonight at the Myrtle Beach Speedway to work your way through this strong competitive field?
Just hold my line and, be as smooth as possible, and hopefully we work our way up through the field.
Now, you've been preparing for this race here at Myrtle Beach for a couple of weeks. How many laps have you turned at this famous speedway in South Carolina?
At least 100, 150 laps I got down. We're just trying to plug away. It's a tricky track, especially in these cars. I don't drive too much. I'm a modified guy usually, so, I figured I'd give this one a shot, see how it goes.
Well, Rob, good luck here tonight. Is there anybody on the side of this number 8 machine, though, that you got to give the shout-out to because it's been a great week all week here at Myrtle Beach?
I'd like to thank Checker Flag Auto Supply being a great sponsor. They help, they're the ones who get the car out on track every week. And my dad for supporting me. And, yeah, that's about it. I think it's hope for a good finish today.
Well, there you heard it, Al. He's just going to try and bring it home in one piece and have himself a good finish as he's not accustomed to driving the super late model.
No, and it is a tricky car. There are a lot of horsepower underneath the hoods of these super late models as they work around the Myrtle Beach Speedway. And this track, you're going to see it. With my experience here in driving these cars, the grooves are going to move around here tonight, Roger. So these drivers are going to be chasing the grip. The grip is going to go away. And it's 251 laps, which we are expecting to see a good bit of that race being underneath the green flag conditions. So you're going to see a lot of comers and goers, I feel. Don't let them fool you out there. These guys are going to be racing for very fierce. It might settle in here early on in this race, but you're going to see some fierce competition out there with Ryan Kuhn, Devin Morgan on the front row of tonight's 251 lap race.
And you talk about the man that's on the front row. Let's see if we can get a word in with the driver of the 72. He is down trackside right now. Ryan, you got a copy of the guys up here in the booth?
Yes, sir.
Well, you got another quick hot rod out there. You won night number 1 here at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway, and now you're back again night number 4. Did you learn anything night number 1 that you can transfer over here into these big, heavy stock cars?
Not really. They're a completely different ball game. There's a completely different feel between each car, and hopefully we'll have a good car tonight. Have a good long run car. I'm running a pretty similar setup that I ran in a Sara Super Series here. That was a really good car, and hopefully we can bring one home tonight and beat Devin and Ryan.
Yeah, you got some strong competition just starting behind you, but you you're pretty familiar with them guys. It's not like you got new guys behind you chasing you. They've been chasing you for quite a while. Are you worried about some of the guys that you maybe don't like? Leclerc and Korlacki, Center, they're going to start a little bit deeper in the field.
I think for a lot of people, it's going to be a lot of learning how the track's going to be for the first about 30, 50 laps. And I think a lot of guys are going to really change as the race progresses. The track's going to change, the cars are going to change, everything's going to change. And there's going to be a little bit of fuel strategy, tire strategy. I think it's all most of it's going to come down to tire strategy, but, anything can really happen tonight.
Well, Ryan, good luck here tonight. Is there anybody on the side of this car before we kick things off here tonight for night number 4?
I'd like to thank Bernier's Liquors for jumping on the car for the iRacing season, and Ryan Kuhn Motorsports, all my teammates that unfortunately could not make it tonight. They're an awesome group of guys to work with, and you guys up in the booth, Dustin and everyone who put this whole deal together. It's pretty cool to get an opportunity like this on iRacing.
There you heard it from our pole setter here tonight. Ryan Kuhn will now go ahead and get himself officially listed as our pole setter. Al, as I got the word qualifying is closed here, so that is your 9-car qualifying field here tonight at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway.
Yeah, Ryan Kuhn putting down a blistering lap over Devin Morgan. Ryan Matthews just separated by 0.007 seconds, Roger. I don't think that you talk that fast.
What are you talking about, Al?
It's pretty close, if you ask me. There, Matthews going to qualify third with a 17.934 to Morgan's 927. But let me ask you this question, Roger. You ran here last night in the SK division. How will this track change over this 251 lap? What's in store for these drivers?
Well, I think the groove here tonight for a lot of these drivers, especially right here in the first couple stages of this race here, before we get probably to lap 50, the groove is going to be right down around the bottom of this Myrtle Beach Speedway. Then you might start to see drivers start to arc it in down in turn number 1. Turn 3 and 4, you're pretty much going to try and run about a car to a half a car length off that inside wall all night long. You might see, in the very late run, a couple guys play a little bit of strategy and come to pit road, and then maybe get themselves some tires where they can utilize the outside lane on a couple of the guys that they can't get off the bottom groove here tonight. But the big factor is going to be, can you keep it out of the wall, out of turn number 4? Because the car sometimes either gets snapped loose or pushed tight, and then it will be into the turn 4 exit wall, and that could really hurt your chances going forward here tonight.
Yeah, the turn 2 wall definitely steps out there. You got to watch out for those sand castles at the bottom of the speedway. Get over those. It's going to rip your suspension apart. Maybe pop a hole in your oil pan, and it's going to put you out of tonight's racing action. It looks like we are getting ready to line the cars up to do battle for 251 laps in Not the Battle 251.
And let's get down here to our starting lineup here tonight. Starting lineup brought to us by the fine folks over at Rike's Lawn Care. This is your starting lineup. Starting on the front row, driving the number 72, it is Ryan Kuhn. He won night number 1 here at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway. Can he win the final night? Starting in the second position, driving the number 112, it is Devin Morgan. Starting row number 2 in the 51M, it is Ryan Matthews. Starting in the 18th, driving the number 18 here tonight, starting 4th, it is Austin Edwards. Starting in the 5th position, driving the 110 machine, this is RS Center. Starting 6th out of Michigan, driving the number 15, it is Dustin Slider. Starting in the 7th position, driving the 911, the 911 machine, that is Brian Korlacki. Starting 8th on the grid here tonight, he finished just 2nd last night, it's the driver of the 33 of Ty Leclerc. Rounding out the field, it's the Higgins Hill Racing Checkered Flag Auto Supply, number 8 of Rob Higgins. And you see the 10th place man out there? And that is race control here tonight, Brent Keith. Al, I think he has a harder job than anybody.
Yeah, definitely don't admire that position there for Brent Keith, but they do a great job, and he's going to keep these drivers in line here as they get ready to go racing, as they double them up here under the yellow flag behind the pace car, the Ford Mustang pace car, pacing our field behind them right now as they get the 1 to go sign. We are going to go green flag racing next time by.
We got a couple Toyotas in the field, Chevrolets, Fords, and I don't see any Pontiacs out there tonight, Al, so nobody's going to be really bringing that excitement to the front with those Pontiacs, but it'll be a Toyota and a Ford, a Toyota and a Chevrolet. Row number 2, a Chevy and a Ford, and then it's 2 Chevrolets and a Chevrolet out into the back of this field here tonight. The field is stacked. It's ready to go green flag racing. This is night number 4. Ryan Kuhn, Devin Morgan on the front row. 251 laps here for Not the Battle at the Myrtle Beach Speedway, and the green flag is out.
Everybody hard on the loud pedal. Kuhn going to dive down to the inside line. He's got Morgan chasing up on the outside. They're going to be drawn even down the back stretch for the first time in the turn number 3.
As they come into 3 to the outside, Morgan going to edge ahead just a little bit, but who will lead lap number 1 here tonight? It will be Devin Morgan from the outside groove. Getting her done, the Ford Mustang being able to lay the power down. The Barber Ford transplant motor in there tonight has got himself the race lead as now they go back into turn number 3 for the second time, and it is Morgan Kuhn. Here comes Matthews in the 51M peeking to the outside.
Yeah, Matthews really rolling the outside to turns 3 and 4. Not able to do anything with them as your top 4 cars have gone single file. RS Center back there in the 5th spot in the 110. Top 4 battling it out nose to tail. Morgan leading since lap number 2 as he works off a turn numbers 4 down the front stretch to put lap 3 onto the books.
Just like that, laps are still in about the mid 18-second bracket, a little bit slower, about a half second slower than what we saw in our qualifying session here. But everybody has already gone into single file. They are going to try and ride it around a little bit here, I believe. Nobody really wants to step out of line and make the mistake early on here tonight at Myrtle Beach, because if you make the mistake here on lap number 5, it could put you out for the rest of this event. Now, Ryan Matthews is going to get around Ryan Kuhn. He just didn't even put up the battle there, Al. He knew what's in stake here at the end of this race, and you're still over 240 laps away from that.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's a matter of feeling out your car. You got to move your brake bias around. Maybe the car's not quite handling with a full fuel load in there. So we got a good side-by-side battle off of turn number 4. That's the 15, the slider. He'll work to the inside underneath the 33 of Leclerc. Leclerc working the outside of the speedway, and his J&E Welding and Fabrication number 33. He'll take that position over, and he'll slide wide now. Leclerc working the extreme outside in turn number 1 and 2.
Yeah, the great thing about this battle right here is, yeah, it's in the early stages of this race. So Leclerc's going to learn what the outside is going to do. Will it change by the end of this race? Yes, it will. But you also got to remember, there are 2 sets of tires down in pit road. So if he goes out here and burns them up and, you know, at the halfway point at 125, he'll be able to come down pit road and put tires on, and then he'll know how hard he cannot push that 33 to go the rest of those 125 laps here tonight, as the flash bulbs are still continuing to go off to get some beautiful pictures of these race machines here tonight. This battle still rages on for this 6th position here for Leclerc, who has it, Slider, who wants it. Korolaki's just kind of hanging back there trying to figure out who's going to have it. Somebody a little sideways up here. I believe that was the 18 of Austin Edwards. It looks like he is able to get the Quick Paul's Lucas Oil entry back under his feet as we stay green flag racing here. Going to complete 10 laps this time by the line. It's Morgan, Matthews, Coons, your top 3.
Yeah, those top 3 are working nose to tail. Matthews stalking the 112 of Morgan, trying to figure out how he's going to get past them as we go on board with the Barber Ford onboard camera for Ryan Matthews, working down the backstretch right up to the outside wall in the tire tracks of that number 112.
Yeah, you see both drivers down there right on that edge there, right along the wall out of turn number 4. I expect that groove to pretty much stay there all night long. You might see it slide a little bit up or a little bit down, but more or less it will be right there all night long. Still battling back here. Something happened to Leclerc as he has now dropped 2 positions. Slider got around him, then a Korolaki, now Higgins. Leclerc is back here running into the 9th position now. I don't see any damage, maybe just a big wiggle. Remember, we were talking about him trying not to use up those tires or possibly see how far he could take the tires on that 33, and maybe he found the breaking point.
Yeah, he could have just overheated them. It's easy to do. The car gets a little bit loose on you. Now he's trying to close back in on the checkered flag auto supply, number 8 of Higgins. Higgins running in your 8th spot as they are all chasing behind the 112 of Morgan. You see the 33 really, as we go on board here with the Barber Ford onboard camera, the left front tire really just cranked on there. So that car might be on a little bit on the tight side right now. Not going to be good. I was hoping to hang on until we get to the halfway break.
Halfway break still a little bit out there. Still about 110 laps away from the halfway point. It's still Morgan and Matthews out front here tonight. Edwards is right there too, though. Driver out of California drinking his coffee here at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway. And he is running in the 4th position. He has not been able to gain any positions. Right now, Ryan Kuhn, who's running right there in that 3rd position. You see the brake rotors glowing on the driver of the 72's Toyota. Well, he has dropped 2 positions. Well, when you say you drop 2 positions and you're still running 3rd, it's really not that bad. You can still see the race leader. You see who's right behind you. You know exactly what you got to do. You just got to save the car.
Yeah, right now he's just in tire conservation mode. Kuhn, a very good driver on the long run. So right now, trying to figure out what he needs to do, maybe making some adjustments inside the cockpit of this 72, the Bernier's Liquor number 72, as they work off turn number 2. Right now, just trying to figure it out, trying to keep the leaders close in tow. He's only 6/10 off of the race leaders, and they are starting to gap the driver out of California, and that was Lucas Oil sponsor, number 18 of Edwards, right there that runs 4th. So these drivers are doing a good job right now, just trying to feel everything out. And RS Center trying to pedal as fast as he can, stretching those legs, trying to get up to make this a 5-car battle for the race lead.
Yeah, RS Center, you know, we haven't talked much about him here in the first 20 laps of this one. He is just kind of hanging back there in the Studio 10 machine, just having himself a solid top 5 for the time being. He's one of those drivers. He knows how to race. As he scrapes the wall down the back straightaway, he knows that it's 251 laps here tonight. It is a very long race. It's a grueling race at probably one of the tougher short tracks. Yeah, you see it's a lot of room. It's a half-mile in distance. It's pretty much flat. The camera shots here tonight may not show you the exact banking here at Myrtle Beach, but when you're down on the bottom, it is pretty much a flat track where you're just trying to hang on to it. You're going to see those drivers step out because of it being so flat and trying to get into back into the throttle to lay the power down here tonight. But RS Center, he's one of those wily veterans. He will be there at the end of this race.
He definitely will be. He's working the bottom, trying to work the middle groove now through there. I was really surprised at the start of this race how well the outside actually worked. We saw Morgan take the lead away from Kuhn on the outside, and now the outside, everybody's kind of single file right there around the paint and the white line through the speedway as we go on board with RS Center as he works off turn number 4. So we see the top 4 in front of him, and I think he's closing down ground on him, Roger.
Last time by, RS Center was actually one of the quicker drivers out there on track, so we'll see if it's going to continue to be that way. Was he saving something here in the early stages of this one, and now is it starting to come to life? Still a long way, still over 75 laps left before that halfway point. Looks like Leclerc has worked his way back up through the field a little bit. He just got back around Rob Higgins and Korolacki, so Leclerc is now running in that 7th position. These drivers right now are sitting at about, an 8-second gap back to our race leader. So that puts them almost a half a track behind. And Al, you don't want to go a lap down here early to Morgan, Matthews, or Kuhn because you might never get it back.
Yeah, right now the race has got a green flag run. These drivers know that at the halfway point, lap 125, with just under 100 laps away, they will get the halfway break where they can come in, put some 4 fresh Mr. Feelgoods on these super late models, and making some adjustments to the car to help them in the second part of this race. But you got to stay on the lead lap to stay in contention here. Not sure if the race control will do wave arounds, keep you back on the lead lap, but you want to race as hard as you can. It has been Devin Morgan since lap number 2, Brian Kuhn leading lap number 1. Those have been your race leaders. Everybody's just kind of settled out here in the top 3 equal distance. Kuhn may be starting to close back in on the backside of the 51 of Matthews.
Yeah, but it seems like everybody's just kind of found a home right now in turning laps. The greatest thing about tonight is you see a lot of iRacing events. They are usually a fixed setup. Well, tonight it is not a fixed setup. So these drivers do have the opportunity. They have more than just a brake adjustment they could make when they come down the pit road. Tape, maybe a little wedge, a crank here, a crank there. Little changes on a car throughout the night as the temperature drops could be huge. You could change the tire pressures, and I mean, those things might make you faster on the long run, as we see Edwards, who might have one of those long run speed cars. He has now started to close back in the top 3.
Yeah, last time by he ran at 18:92. The leader ran at 18:91, so mirroring our top two, our leaders' lap times. The quickest car last time by was our pole sitter, the 72 Akun, ran an 18:88 last lap. So we'll see what this time he'll come back by. And it looks like that time it was Morgan who is the quickest car. So these guys are switching the times back and forth. They are really close on the lap times, lap in, lap out. But right now, Kuhn's maybe starting that long run, hitting lap 32 at the line this time by. Maybe his long run setup is coming in.
Well, we will find out here. Well, working lap number 33. It has been all green and clean here tonight. We've only had one man step out of line so far, and that was Leclerc, and that put him back to the 9th position. He has worked back around as he steps out again out of turn number 2, and it looks like he's going to bring it to pit road.
Yeah, Leclerc going to come down pit road. Looks like some issues on the 33, and possibly taken out behind the wall, so tough break for the driver out of Taunton, Massachusetts, Tyler Leclerc, and the J&E Welding and Fabricating car down on pit road. Possible mishandling on that number 33 as he's in the pits, already 2 laps down to our race leader.
Yeah, that's just how fast the race pace is here tonight by the race leader, still into that 18-second bracket. They have fallen off about a half second in 35 laps of the green flag competition here tonight for night number 4 for Not the Battle. While we're here at this point in the race, we got to thank not only all the race fans for tuning in, all the drivers, the family members, and all the fans here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. We got to thank Rike's Lawn Care, BK Paints, Barbara Ford, and the Dreamer Racing Series. This week, this event being put on by the Dreamer Racing Series and Barbara Ford and BK Paints and Rike's Lawn Care and Scaping, all of them coming on board here this week to put on this heck of an event, and it's been great racing so far this week. 3 races already in the books, 3 different winners. Ryan Kuhn, Austin Edwards, and Parker Ritzloff have already all won at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway this week. Morgan right now and Matthews out front in your top 2 positions. They could possibly be the 4th winner in 4 nights.
Yeah, and watching them come off turn number 4 right now, Morgan seems to be a little bit on the tighter side. We see the 51M of Matthews. He'd be able to keep it right there on the white line, almost hitting the sandcastles off of turn number 2. But he's able to draw back in. He's closed it in within 2 car lengths of your race leader. And Ryan Kuhn also coming in there. So maybe Morgan's car starting to tighten up a little bit, or maybe Morgan, as we are on board with the BK Paints on board with Morgan, maybe he's just searching around for a little bit of grip right now. He's out front leading, kind of controlling the pace of this race so far. But right now, Morgan trying to search it out. Matthews looking to close in a little bit closer on the backside of that BK Ford number 112.
Yes, now we look at Ryan Matthews on board camera looking back onto Coons, who's sitting right there in that 3rd position. You know, some may say he's both these drivers right here, a little young on the side of, I don't want to say experience, because Al, almost experience now, you start from a young age and then you just kind of carry on into things. You know, a lot of drivers back in our day, you maybe get to go to like a car dealer and sit in a quote-unquote simulator and run a couple laps like NASCAR. Nowadays, these guys, they crawl out of bed at the age of 5 and they hop into some real high-powered simulators. These 2 drivers right now, they run in the iRacing Ignite series, which is for the younger generation, almost the next generation of racers that are coming through the competition. And they are some of the toughest drivers. They're proving it already here tonight.
They definitely are. And I know Ryan Kuhn runs late model, super late model up here in the New England area. He's no stranger to being behind the wheel of a super late model. He's closed it back in on the back side of the 51M of Matthews as they work off turn number 4. So now Matthews starting to lose touch with Morgan. Maybe Morgan found something. You see him running that upper groove as we go on board with Matthews off of turn number 2. Morgan's keeping the car wound up a little bit on the outside of the speedway. He's moved up to that 2nd groove, almost out of the black where the rubber is. So maybe it's searching for some grip out of that 112. He might have found it.
You never know what you found until you find it and start to run away, and then all the other drivers are going to be able to take notes on that. But Edwards is officially knocking on the back door for the top 3, because he is now pulled within about 5 car lengths of Ryan Kuhn. But out back here, these two are battling. They're actually having themselves one whale of a battle back here. Kind of in their own world back here, running 7th and 8th. That is Higgins and Korolaki. They are running 7th and 8th. But your race leaders, let's see, I believe we have an onboard camera facing backwards here somewhere. If the truck has it, you will be able to see your race leaders back there. There it is. That's the onboard camera with our checkered flag auto supply driver of Rob Higgins. There you see the race leader of Morgan, Matthews, Coons, and Edwards. They are coming.
Yeah, they're going to be catching lap traffic here as we are working lap 48, put 48 on the books, as Higgins and Korolaki are putting on a battle back here. And they've got the race leaders coming in a hurry, so these drivers know that they got to start pedaling their bikes a little bit faster down the backstretch, but they're going to lose a lap early on in this race, and it's going to be tough to get it back, I believe, once you go down a lap. Morgan, Matthews, Kuhn, and Edwards are putting on one heck of a pace so far early on in this event. And we had an RS Center back there in your 5th spot. He just kind of quietly be there. I bet you he'll be there at the end. 2.8 seconds behind is now Higgins going to take a look down to the inside of the 911 of Korolaki.
Yeah, here on lap 50, these two are battling to try and stay ahead of the race leaders. They see them coming. They hear it from the spotters. Race control also telling them that the leaders are coming. So now they're trying to jockey for position because they don't want to go the first. They don't want to be the first one to go the lap down. And, well, you really want to be the last one out of the two because that would put you in that lucky dog position here tonight to receive a wave around. And it looks like, if I'm looking at it right, Korolaki has been into the outside wall possibly one time with the right side of that 911 machine. That might spell a little bit of handling issues for him going forward here tonight. Higgins did get around him, and Higgins is trying to run away. He's open to about a 2.5 car length gap, but the race leader is right there, almost within 10 car lengths now to the back of Korolaki.
Yeah, throw a blanket over your top four, and they're going to be entering some lap traffic here within the next lap or so. The first one will be Korolaki in the 911. That time a little bit of a wiggle off turn number 2 by the 112 of Morgan. He's got it under control, though, but he's got Matthews and Kuhn, Edwards right to that back bumper as well. Is at the 4-car battle for your race lead. Korolaki going to go to the outside. Here comes Morgan. Morgan trying to make the move on lap traffic. Maybe get some separation from himself and Matthews as they hit turn 3.
We'll be just under the halfway point to the end of our first segment of this race here, and the lap traffic will move to the outside. Korolaki moves up, and he will give the driver of that 112 of Morgan, and now the 51M of Matthews. And oh, did you see that? Devin Morgan tried to use the lap down car there as a little bit of a buffer, a little bit of a pick, but Matthews and Kuhn, they were ready for that.
Yeah, they were. It actually closed some ground, and it looks like Matthews able to charge the corner a little bit harder right now. He's within a car length now down the backstretch. Matthews trying to sniff the lead away from Morgan as they work through turns 3 and 4. Kuhn up his tailpipes off turn number 4. And it's a 4-car battle for your race lead. Center is coming as he is closing in on his 4-car battle. As now Higgins will go one lap down to your race leaders. He bows out of the way. He'll get back in it right in front of Korolaki. Down in the corner. Korolaki going to dive down low. That's the battle for the lucky dog spot.
Yeah, Korolaki takes the bottom groove. A big wiggle by Morgan up there. Now Rob Higgins is going to let Korolaki have the spot for the time being. Question is, though, how long can he hold on to it? Those two have been passing it back and forth like it's one of those hot Idaho potatoes. Right now, it is Korolaki in the spot. Next driver, that would be pending lap down if we get there. He is about half a track behind. It's the driver of the 15 out of Michigan. This is Dustin Slider. He's having himself, well, he's in 6th, but the car just doesn't look like it has the long run speed. A little bit of a push that time off of turn number 4. Could be chewing up that right front and down into 1. It looks like he's trying a little bit of a different line that we have not seen tonight.
Yeah, the Rike's Lawn Care and Scaping LLC entry of the 15 is Slater. A little bit of ill handling right now, trying to make it another 65 laps. 65 laps, he'll get the safe haven of the midway break where he'll be able to come down and put some 4 brand new Hoosiers on that car and make some adjustments, Roger. Right now, the drivers are radioing into their crew chiefs, trying to figure out what kind of positions and what kind of moves they're going to need to make on their setups at the halfway point.
Yeah, left side of the screen right now is our fastest times of the night, and it is Devin Morgan who has had that fast time. There he is, your top 4 still under the blanket here tonight. but that is your fast time. It was an 18-second .491. That would have qualified you. Qualifying speed, that would have put you about mid-pack as the battle for second now rages on.
Yeah, Kuhn trying to pull up even on the inside of the 51M of Matthews. Matthews going to try to slam the door shut. Couldn't quite do it on the entry of turn number 1, but he'll do it off turn number 2. The momentum, the outside might be starting to come in. We've seen Morgan go up there and test it out a few times as kind of maybe a defense mechanism to get that momentum up. He enjoys a 2-car length advantage. Kuhn trying to find a way around Matthews as now he's got Edwards all over his back bumper.
Edwards is going to be the wild card here tonight. He said on Friday night it was a pleasure to race with some of the better racers on iRacing. He said he didn't think he had a car that was going to be competitive on Friday night. Well, he was competitive as he ran away and hid on Friday night with the late model stock entry. And now here with this open setup, he has himself a pretty good hot rod once again as he just hounds the back of Ryan Coons, who's trying to get himself around Ryan Matthews. And Morgan still holds down the lock spot out front in his entry here tonight. Those drivers right now are sitting about a second or 2 seconds over RS Center, who's right there coming out of turn number 2 right now. Looks like RS Center has some damage on the left front of that car, Al. There's only 2 spots on this track that you could get left front damage.
Yeah, hopefully he did not get over those sandcastles in 1 and 2. That could have done some serious damage to the suspension underneath the 110. And could also have damaged the horsepower. He doesn't seem, the horsepower-wise, okay, but he might have knocked the toe out of that RS trucking number 110, the Studio 10 out of it. So right now he's kind of just back there in 5th. You get to the halfway point, fix the damage on that 110, be good to go. But Kuhn trying to throw the beverages at the 51M of Matthews, trying to find a way to the back to your number 2 spot. I do believe he might be a little bit quicker than Matthews. Being quicker and then getting around him are 2 different things.
Al, the side of that car has a liquor sponsor on the side of it. Do you think they have your Captain Morgan Vanilla Orange?
I hope they do. That's the good stuff there. I'm really been looking for that sliced apple as well, Roger. So up here in the Northeast, I was told mid-October by the time I'll be able to try that. But right now, I don't think Kuhn is he's trying to stay hydrated in that number 72 as he's put in all of his effort trying to get around the 51M of Edwards.
Well, you never know, Al. It might just show up early, just like these drivers showing up early and getting some practice laps in here tonight before the main event here for night number 4 for Not the Battle. We are at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway as we watch this battle for your top 4. It is night number 4 with 4 drivers in the top 4 positions. 2 of them have already won this week at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway. That is Ryan Kuhn, who won race number 1, and Austin Edwards, who runs 4th right now. He won night number 2. They're trying to be the only ones this week in the field here that could possibly take 2 wins out of the 4 races all week at Myrtle Beach, but we still have over half of this race left to go to find out who is going to be able to do that. 2 drivers a lap down, 3 drivers if you count Tyler Clerk, who is currently out of this race behind the pit wall, trying to get work done to that 33 machine. Higgins runs into the 8th position. He's running right behind Brian Korolacki. Those 2 cars are the only 2 that are a lap down out there on track, and Korolacki right now is in that lucky dog position if the caution were to fly, as Higgins trying to get that checkered flag auto supply car to kind of rotate out of the center and off the corner to get him to the inside of the 911 as he's peaking this time out of turn 4.
Yeah, the 911 of Korolacki looks a little bit on the loose side. If I was a betting man, you see him getting in the corner up the racetrack. The back of the car does not seem to be planted, and Higgins' car keeping it pretty straight, keeping the car underneath them. And we heard in the pre-race show, Higgins not too familiar with these heavy full-fendered race cars, more of an open-wheel modified type driver. So this is valuable seat time for him as he works the bottom, running a very nice line in that Checkers Auto Supply number 8 car, just trying to get around the 911 of Korolacki.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier. It's one thing to get there, it's another thing to get around. And right now, Higgins is not able to get back around as You know, just like Austin Edwards, he ran down these front 3, and now he's kind of just been stuck there in that Lucas Oil quick pause, number 18. As now Morgan's really hanging it out of turn 4. He let that Mustang go all the way up against the outside wall. Didn't tag it, but he went all the way up there.
Yeah, he's got the Barber Ford 112 really wound up. You see him cut down to the bottom. Then kind of lets the car just drift up off the corner. This time trying to stay a little bit further away from the walls. We go on board with the BK Paints, on board with Ryan Matthews, looking here off of turn number 2, trying to figure out where he can go. He's got Kuhn. Kuhn's starting to get a little bit of wiggle off the corner. You see Kuhn enter up the racetrack a little bit higher and tries to cut it down low. Not able to make a move yet on 51M of Matthews, but he will soon get there as soon as he can. Trying to get some momentum where he can pull alongside that Toyota.
Yeah, Al, I know it's still early, as now you see Kuhn work to the outside there, maybe a groove up, trying to get that run off of turn 4. He wiggles a little bit. You heard him had to blip the throttle. Is the 3-tap Teddy rule in effect here at Myrtle Beach? Is it small enough, close enough, tight enough to bring in that factor?
I think it will be, Roger. I think as we get closer to the end of this one, when the pay window starts to get lubricated. Now, as I say that, Kuhn's going to dive it down to the inside. In the battle to the inside, here comes Kuhn. Kuhn, Edwards, or Matthews on the outside. They'll make a little contact off turn number 2. Matthews with the outside, getting the outside to rotate a little bit with a little more grip. He'll hold off the advances, so Matthews using the outside as kind of a pick or a defense mechanism. Now Kuhn will go to the outside in turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, but it won't work. Nothing's going to change inside the top running order. It's still Morgan, Matthews, and Kuhn. It looks like Kuhn really got to the back there in 3 and 4 once again, but was not able to do anything with it. Edwards is just really hanging out. RS Center, there you see him coming out of 4. Looks like he's also been into the outside wall with the right front fender here on lap 84, that is. So his night may be a little bit down on power, as it also looks like Slider, we talked about it, he has to stay on the lead lap here. And look, your race leaders are coming. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold off the advance of those race leaders. It's only about, call it maybe a half a straightaway, the back straightaway, that is.
Yeah, half a straightaway back is Devin Morgan. He's closing in on the 15 of Slider, and Slider's got 30 laps to hold on to it before the halfway break, or make it 40 laps, excuse me, doing some math here. Slider's got 40 laps to hold on to it. Not quite sure he's going to be able to hold on, but when that yellow flag flies, he should get the wave around, get back onto the lead lap, as he would be the first car 1 lap down, as Higgins and Korlacki are battling it back out there. They are currently the only cars lap down, and as actually Higgins has gotten around the 911.
So right now the hot potato goes to Rob Higgins. He is in that hot seat right now, but if Slider does go a lap down here before we get to that halfway point, then it'll put Slider there. So right now, if you're Higgins, you're really either hoping for a caution flag, right, meow, or, well, you're hoping that Dustin's able to keep the 15 wound up and keep it on the lead lap, but it's a Ford Mustang, so we'll see if that's going to even happen here tonight. The other Ford Mustang, yeah, it's leading right now, but it's hit or miss.
Yeah, his ponies are definitely running full song right now. Morgan later, Matthews up the racetrack again. Kuhn trying to figure out how to get it around him right to the back bumper now. Kuhn will enter turns 3 on the outside, try to diamond it off, try to get a move. Matthews protects the inside line, this time off turn number 4.
So that'll put 89 laps in the books here, as the 2 Toyota drivers in our field tonight are trying to battle for that second position. Matthews and Kuhn. Edwards still hanging out behind. He is just hanging out watching the battle out in front of him.
Yeah, right now the Lucas Oil Quick Pause entry is number 18 of Austin Edwards. He is just trying to figure out, kind of, right now, would you push the issue? I don't know if you start pushing the issue too soon, maybe showing your hands early is not the greatest idea. So he's kind of slowly closed in on this battle. He's all over the back bumper of Kuhn now, as Kuhn is trying to figure out a way around Matthews, and they've caught Slider. Slider is under pressure from the 112 of Devin Morgan.
Yeah, I think the laps just aren't clicking off fast enough for Dustin right now. You don't want to count the chickens before they hatch, Al, but right now he is only about 10 car lengths ahead of Devin Morgan as they work through the front straightaway here on lap number 93. Still get over 20 laps before that halfway competition caution would come out. So we'll have to see. Two of the Barber Ford drivers right here. Two of the Barber Ford sponsored drivers, I should say. One's the leader, and one's trying to hang on to the lead lap, but it doesn't look like Dustin's going to hold the race leader up at all. He's just going to work straight to the top side, and his Mustang will get back in line about 5th place.
Yeah, the gentleman moved right there by Dustin Slater to get out of the way. He saw those 4 leaders coming fast and in a hurry, and just decided that, well, right now my car isn't quite up to snuff to try to put on a battle to stay on the lead lap, 30 laps shy of the halfway point as they work on into turn number 3. Morgan still leads, Matthews, Kuhn, Edwards, and now we have 3 drivers down 1 lap. Dustin Slater to the first car lap down. And now the battle kind of settled out right now. Maybe Kuhn figured, all right, Morgan started to get away. Now they're starting to close back in. Every time Matthews and Kuhn start to battle it out, Morgan stretches out the race lead. Right now they're starting to close back in on him. So right now, kind of get to the halfway point, make some adjustments to your car, make it a little bit better, and maybe go after the 112 with Devin Morgan.
Yeah, that's something you really got to take into consideration every time you start battling for a position, whether it's at Daytona, Talladega, Watkins Glen, or right here at Myrtle Beach. That's going to allow the driver that's out ahead of you to really start to run his own line and own groove, and he runs away, because when you go side by side, you can't get back to the throttle. You don't have the same braking points. You don't have the same response from the steering wheel that you would like to have because of all the factors from the track, the brakes, the tires, the air that starts to get buffered in between the cars. Everything starts to play a factor here on the iRacing.com simulator. And, you know, that's really what Matthews and Coons really started to have there when they started battling side by side, that Devin Morgan was able to really start to pull himself away. But now, since they went back single file, Matthews is able to run what he wants to, and then Coons just kind of follows in tow, and so does Edwards. And it seems like Edwards has actually started to fall off this front train just a little bit. You see about 3 car lengths between Morgan and Matthews, and then Coon to Edwards, you see about the same distance.
Yeah, right now they're going to come off putting lap 100 into the book, so we're 25 laps away from the halfway point. And Edwards really closed in when Coon and Matthews were battling it out. Now, since they've gone single file, kind of just riding around here, around the Myrtle Beach Speedway, Edwards is starting to lose touch with your race leaders. He's fallen off about 5 car lengths behind the 72 of Coon. For Morgan, though, is out front still. Matthews and Coon, your top 3. So I'll see right now, maybe the 18 trying some different lines. He's about 5 car lengths off of Coon, and he might be able to make it back up there. Right now, great working lap 102, putting 103 up onto the board as they work it into turn 1. That time Matthews with a move into turns 1 and 2, made a little bit of looseness getting in there. Kuhn not able to capitalize.
Fastest driver, though, on the track last time by was the man who's sitting back there in the 4 spot. Austin Edwards was about 3/100ths of a second faster. So we'll see if he's able to close in a little bit faster on him this time by same song and dance, but it's actually Edwards, Matthews, Good, Morgan, your top 4 fastest drivers on the speedway. They are working upon another lap down car here tonight at the Myrtle Beach Speedway, and this is the 111 of Korolaki. They will go pending 2 laps down here, and that car continues to look loose.
Yeah, this time by it'll be 20 laps to the halfway point. Korolaki going to go down 2 laps to your race leader. That car is in some serious love attention down on pit road during the halfway break, but he is doing his best to keep that car underneath them. And these cars are a handful. We see the cars get out of shape a little bit, and he's running the line that Morgan wants. So we'll see whether Morgan will take it to the inside. Korolaki will move up the racetrack, allowing the race leaders to get on by through turns 3 and 4.
So a good move there by Korolaki. He gets out of the way. Now the next driver that would be pending into that same position, that's the checkered flag auto supply driver of Rob Higgins. Higgins is already 1 lap down, running in the 7th position. He is the biggest mover so far of this event. How he has worked from 9th to the 7th position, getting around Korolaki and Leclerc, as Leclerc still continuing to be behind the pit wall here tonight.
Yeah, Leclerc unfortunately had to exit the race early with a broken rear sway bar mount, is what we're being told for the back end of the 33 car. So tough break for the driver. They're number 33 out of Taunton, Massachusetts, our only retiree so far here tonight. As we look at our 5th place driver, that is the RS Trucking, the Studio 10, number 110 of RS Center, the driver out of Oakwood, Georgia. Runs there, fit, been there quietly all race long. And his car looks a little bit on the tight side right now, a little bit of left front damage on that number 110. He'll have to fix that here in about 15 laps when the competition yellow will fly.
Yeah, but we're closing in on it, and Morgan's still closing in on the back half of this number 8 machine. So it does look like he should be able to catch Rob Higgins before the end of this stage, and that would then trap him 2 laps down as Higgins in turn number 1. He goes to the outside. He lets your first 1, 2, 3 cars get on by him. It'll be now Edwards that has to work to the inside in turn 3, and he will get around him also.
Yeah, Matthews and Kuhn do a good job. Kind of caught the number 8 of Higgins in kind of not a good spot where you want to catch a lap traffic off, which is off of turn number 2. Really break your momentum up as we go on board with the BK Paints on board with Austin Edwards, who runs in your 4th spot, as Kuhn and Matthews have caught to the backside of the 112 of Morgan. Morgan had gained about a 5 car length advantage. Now Matthews all over the back bumper.
Yeah, and did they save it all till just about 10 laps to go? Is it time to fire off the bad boy? Time to let him rip. If you got him, use him at this point, because it'll come to the halfway point in just over 10 laps, and then if you didn't use all of it, well, now you have none of it, and you got to start all back over. The driver of this 51M, the Carbon Solution entry, what does he have left in these tires here as we approach the halfway? It is going to be 114 laps in the books this time by.
Matthews' car, I like the look of it. It's able to hold the inside line and keep it straight up off the corners. You see Morgan now jumping out to about a 5 car length advantage. Kuhn right there back there in the number 3 spot, but they're able to keep the car down there. We see Morgan's car a little bit of a wiggle once in a while. That time off turn number 4, it looked solidly planted. So right now Morgan out there as your race leader, knows that he's got about a 3 car length advantage over 2nd place. Maybe searching around, trying to figure out what the car needs. Push the car a little bit extra hard here, come to the halfway break, to kind of figure out what kind of adjustments you're going to need here as they work off of turn numbers 3 and 4 to put lap 116 on the books. So we are within 10 laps of our competition yellow.
So we'll see once we get to this halfway point what changes everybody will make, or will they make any at this point. If you're Devin Morgan out front, do you make any changes? You've had yourself a pretty quick car all night long here and still continuing to lead this race. Al, is there anything the driver would want at this point? He hasn't been able to run away, but he really hasn't been challenged either.
It's kind of a double-edged sword right now. You know your car is fairly decent. You've taken the lead since lap 2. You've led the last 117 laps of this race, and now you know your competition is going to try to make some adjustments. Now, whether or not those adjustments make their cars better or worse, that'll be the same. So if you're Morgan, you kind of know what you have for your car. Do you keep it the same and hope that the track doesn't change or swing one way or the other in the second half of this race, or you try to make some adjustments to make your car better and hopefully don't dial yourself out? That is going to be the biggest question for all of these drivers, especially the top 4 that have been glued together since the start of this race. Do they dial themselves out, or do they make themselves better here on this stop?
Yeah, it's going to be kind of a flip the coin now and decide what you want to do, because it'll be just 4 laps to go here in this stage number 1, as it's Morgan, Matthews, Kuhn, Edwards, Center, your top 5 drivers who are left on the lead lap. Right now, Slider is sitting there in the 6th position. He would be the lucky dog candidate at the end of this stage if he can keep it clean till the end of it. Higgins is running 7th, Korlacki is 8th, and Leclerc is sitting there into the 9th position. He is still behind the wall with that broken machine.
The other question here, too, is Devin Morgan very fast in the super late model ranks in any class or division that he runs here on the iRacing surface. So is he holding back a little bit? Is he trying to not pull away so far and show his cards early on in this event? We know Morgan's very fast. He won the 2020 Spring Championship for the Sim Auto Racing Association. He comes into this event here with the race lead is we're going to hit lap 124, put lap 125 onto the books here as they work it off turn number 4. So next time by, we are at the halfway break right now. So we've met that. So if your competition, what changes are you going to make here under this yellow flag? And if you're the 112, have you shown your car? We've been able to see where he's been able to open up a 5-car length advantage, kind of at will, Roger. So does he have more to show inside the cockpit of that number 112? Or is he just kind of, that's what he's got?
I'm going to guess there's another gear down there in that 112 yet, but I'm also going to guess the top 4 drivers all still have a gear. Kuhn will come down pit road along with Morgan, Matthews, Edwards, and RS Center will also come to pit road here tonight. So pit road is going to get busy, and as pit road is busy, we're going to take a quick break here in the Turn 3 Racing Network studios, and we'll be back to bring you the second half of Not the Battle right here from the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back here, race fans, to the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway. You are watching night number 4 here for Not the Battle, presented by Rike's Lawn Care and Scaping. We are at the halfway point as the iRacing pace car dives in. This is not a caution flag for Rex. This is a caution flag for the halfway point as we fire off. It's going to be Edwards, Matthew, Coons, Morgan, and Center, your top 5.
Yeah, during the halfway break, Matthews or Edwards taking a little bit less fuel, got 4 fresh tires on that number 18. Now it's got the fresh air on the front of this one as we've got a good battle as they go wheel to wheel off turn number 4. Kuhn to the inside of Matthews, but Morgan, he was the biggest loser on pit road. He came in as your race leader, come out 4th on the track. He'll work to the outside of Kuhn off of turn number 2.
Great battle. Your front 2, though, have gone single file. Now what does Devin Morgan have as he's going to have to come back through the field? It looks like he got himself a good run that time out of turn 4. He will clear going down into turn number 1. Devin Morgan back to the 3rd position here as we're just over that halfway point. We have now made our pit stop. We have fresh tire and enough fuel to go the rest of the way here tonight at the Myrtle Beach Speedway. And it is Austin Edwards coming back across the line. Ryan Matthews, Devin Morgan, Ryan Goons, RS Center, your top 5 drivers. There at Center, he had to go to the tail end of the longest line as he had to do some work to his 110 RS Trucking Machine. But Edwards still continues to lead this race here. It'll be 134 laps this time by at the line in the books here out of the 251 scheduled tonight for Not the Battle.
Yeah, right now, Edwards, since taking the green flag, has ran the best lap of the race. So he has had the fastest lap of the race just after the halfway point. Did he put enough fuel in that Lucas Oil number 18? As he runs to your race lead, he's opened up about a 10-length car length advantage. Matthews runs second, Morgan third, and Kuhn rounding out your top four. The 911 of Korlacki, he's back there in your 8th spot. He's the car right behind the 72 of Kuhn. Morgan, though, settling into 3rd spot as he's got a pedal. He lost 3 positions on the pit stops, so he's got to see if he can take that back. But he's got plenty of time to do so as he runs there in the 3rd position.
Yeah, still a long, long way to go. We saw him have himself a good car, and if he continues to run the way he is, I don't have any disbelief that he won't be able to go up there and complete with Ryan Matthews and Austin Edwards. Remember, we saw Edwards drop back about 4 seconds on that first run and then end up coming back to finish 4th right there, running 1, 2, 3, and 4 on our race leaders. So long run cars for a short run, but look how fast Edwards' car kind of jumped out there this time. Do you think they made any tire pressure adjustments to get this 18 out front and run away?
Yeah, I think there's definitely, they made some good adjustments under the brake there on the number 18. You saw him kind of just riding there back in the 4th spot during the first half of this race. Maybe saving some fuel so you didn't have to put so much fuel in that car. Maybe working on the adjustments, figure air pressure, some track bar adjustments on the 18. Whatever they've done, they seem to help. He has opened up a 1-second gap over Matthews, who runs second in the 51M, in the 112 of Devin Morgan back there in 3rd. So these Edwards really putting the smacking the horse out of there as he's got the 18 out front and trying to drive away, trying to put as much gap as he can. But the question is he going too hard too early on those tires?
Yeah, that question will be answered before it is, not too long, I should really say. But back here, this is the number 15 of Dustin Slider. Al, we talked about him being in that lucky dog position. He is still currently 1 lap down to the race leader, so I don't believe that he had gotten a wave around here tonight.
No, I don't believe so. I think he came down pit road, and so he's down to 1 lap. So if we do get a quick yellow, it'll put 6 cars on the lap, but Higgins right there battling with him. Higgins is down 2 laps to your race leader. Doing a good job there for the first time in one of these full fendered events for Higgins, and he's looking like he's got the good car control. He's keeping it underneath them to work off turn number 4.
Yeah, he talked about how he's that open wheel modified driver up here from the Northeast, style kind of racing. It's what he grew up with, Al. Those drivers up there in, the Connecticut, the Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts area, they are really crazy when it comes to racing. They love their short track racing action. And when I say short track racing action, I don't mean necessarily dirt track racing action. A lot of them don't even have a clue what dirt modifieds are, even though that's pretty popular here in the Northeast also. They really like their SK modifieds and their Whelen modifieds, those open wheel, high horsepower, big wheels, lots of downforce where you can pretty much just put your foot in it and go. That's what Rob Higgins really enjoys. These modifieds, these super late model modifieds that he's in right now, yeah, they're popular in the Northeast, but that's not the style of racing that he likes.
No, and these are working around the speedway here. Higgins doing a good job, and he's always a tough competitor on Thursday nights here on the Turn 3 Racing Network as he's doing what he needs to do. He's talked about seat time, and this is the best way of doing it.
No better way than 251 laps here at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway, which is still being led here since the halfway point by Austin Edwards. He has now opened up to the largest gap we have seen all night. It is exactly sitting at 1 second as we go on board here. Looking back from our Barbara Ford onboard camera with the California kid of Austin Edwards, looking back on Ryan Matthews. It is still Devin Morgan sitting there in the 3rd position. Ryan Kuhn is sitting there 4th. RS Center is the only other driver. That is your top 5 drivers that are on the lead lap here tonight. RS Center, remember though, he had to go to the longest end of the track here of the racers. He is sitting back in the 5th spot. He is 6.5 seconds back. And Al, unless there's a caution flag here in the final 100 laps, he might be out of this one tonight.
Yeah, this is a tough break. You see him get a little bit loose through turns 1 and 2. The driver out of Oakwood, Georgia, in the RS Trucking Studio 10 wraps, number 110. Doing a good job out there, just kind of been behind the 8 ball since the green flag dropped. We saw him run their 5th the whole first segment. Came out just in front of the race leaders. Had to go to the tail end of the longest line there. Maybe a pit road problem on that 110. But he's now finding himself in the 5th spot, trying to pedal as fast as he can to get back up to the race leaders.
Now, I just noticed when RS Center came by our camera on the front straightaway, maybe hitting the limiter. Let's ride on board here and see if we can hear what the RPMs sound like for RS Center. Yeah, maybe a little bit onto the chip coming down the front straightaway. Al, that could be the horsepower loss we were talking about. We talked about it possibly being on the turtles losing the horsepower, but hitting the chip sometimes too soon before entering the corner, that could play some missing horsepower also. I know a lot of guys do set their cars up that they want to hit the chip down the straightaway, that they know that's the lifting point, but it seems a little early for RS Center to hit the chip.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of hitting like a wall. These cars do like to get on the chip a little bit. That's where the horsepower range is, but if you like you're talking about, you hit it too early, then it happens there. Because we had a pass for your 3rd spot. Kuhn has gotten around Morgan, and Matthews has closed it in within a half a second of your race leader. Oh, Morgan going to go around off turn number 4. Hard contact in the outside wall for the 112 of Devin Morgan.
That'll be the first caution flag here of the evening, and that might be exactly what RS Center needed, as Morgan hard impact with the Barber Ford 112 machine. So that'll bring the first caution flag out, and that was directly out of turn number 4. We will watch it back here in just a couple of seconds when the truck gets that queued up for us, but that's going to be big. Al, Devin led a ton of laps, 126 laps to be exact, before this caution flag comes out.
Yeah, it looked like maybe they went the wrong way on adjustments. The car looked a little bit too free on this run after the halfway point. Comes down in the turn numbers 3 and 4. And you see the back of the car just step out, maybe blowing a left rear tire on the Barber Ford BK Paints number 112, the driver out of Greensville, South Carolina. As we go on board with him, just got back in the gas and around went the 112 of Morgan. So he has come down pit road, and he is down on pit road, or didn't come down pit road. He runs 3rd. It was like RS Center. Austin Edwards came in down pit road, though. Your race leader down pit road coming out. So he's going to give the race lead over to the 51 of Matthews, as we see Morgan's car spin once again into the outside of turn number 4. So some strategy now. Morgan coming down pit road, so he'll come back out. That gives the race lead to Ryan Matthews, as the 18 drove to the race lead. Maybe got those 4 fresh tires, and maybe that'll be the last time the yellow silk will fly. The interesting play call here by the driver out of California.
Yeah, and remember, Al, only 2 sets of tires available to all drivers here tonight. And with Austin Edwards coming down at the halfway point, you know he took tires then, and now he came back down again to take tires. So you know he is officially going to be out of the tire game here the rest of the way. So we will see and keep an eye on Austin Edwards here tonight and see if he's able to work his way back up through. Looks like he should restart into the 4th position when we do go back racing. It will be Ryan Matthews, and then it'll be Ryan Kuhn, RS Center, Austin Edwards, Dustin Slider, and Devin Morgan. Morgan has now come down pit road with his number 112 machine, and it looks like he is now going to come back out, and he got the crew to bang out a little bit of that Ford Mustang nose, so his 112 is looking pretty sporty once again.
Yeah, hopefully they didn't get any of the chassis damage down on the inside of the 112 of Devin Morgan as he brought out the yellow flag. I believe Dustin Slater is gotten the wave around, so that'll put him back onto the lead lap, giving us 6 drivers on the lead lap. So we'll have to take and see now if the 112 of Morgan made some adjustments that did not seem to agree at the halfway point.
So we are working lap 161 here, just under the 100 lap marker to go here. The iRacing.com pace car, the Ford Mustang, will dive it down to pit road, and we shall go back racing here with 90 laps to go here in night number 4 for Not the Battle, presented by Rike's Lawn Care and Scaping, as the green flag is back out.
Green flag will drop. It'll be Matthews on the loud pedal first into turn number 1. The 18 of Edwards way up the racetrack. He'll get around the 110 of Center. Is for your third position. Center not quite done yet. He'll dive it back down low, looking for the Pearl at the bottom of the racetrack off turn number 4.
Not gonna happen. He'll fall back to the 4th position as the new tires for Austin Edwards are just too much for RS Center. But now, with Edwards having fresher tires by about 25 laps, will he be able to get around Kuhn and Matthews for the race lead? And it'll be coming back here and be completing lap 163 as the flash bulbs continue to go off to get pictures of these beautiful cars here tonight at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway for Not the Battle.
About 30 lap difference on the tires right now is what is from your first 2 to the 3rd place driver, even your 4th place driver, who came down on pit road on lap 157. So it's been about 30 laps. It's now the 18 of Edwards. He'll take a peek down low under Kuhn. The battle for second, gonna go door to door through turns 3 and 4. You can see the grip that the 18 has on the bottom of the speedway. That's the battle for second.
Yeah, and I thought he was going to lose a little ground out of turn number 4, but Edwards kept his foot in the loud pedal. He goes back to running second. Now he's split up the Ryan and Ryan show at the front of the field. So it's Ryan, Austin, Ryan, your top 3 drivers right now. That is Matthews, Edwards, and Kuhn. For anybody that doesn't know, it's the Ryan and Ryan show up there, driving the 51M and the 72. So right now, that is 1, 2, 3 on the timing and scoring with RS Center there in 4th. Devin Morgan, Dustin Slider also holding on to those lead lap, running 5th and 6th here. Coming by this time, Ryan Matthews continues to lead, but there is Austin Edwards all over the back end of that 51M.
Yeah, Edwards having a good run with the quick pod, the Lucas Oil entry number 18, the driver that hails from Mentone, California. He's trying to make it a big payday here at the end of this one. Doesn't quite have to push it as hard as possible, but your maneuverability is definitely better when those tires are green and fresher. So he's quickly moved into your number 2 spot. You see the distance that these two have put over Ryan Kuhn. Devin Morgan now up to 4th spot. We know he's got some fresh tires after he went through the spin cycle off of turn number 4 back there on lap 156. So he is quickly closing in on the backside of Kuhn, but the battle for your race lead still rages on off turn number 4.
Yeah, Ryan Kuhn has already had a payday this week. He won the Legends entry. He won himself a comfortable $35 earlier this week. Could he come back up here and get some more coinage to put back into the sim rig? Austin Edwards won $45 a little earlier also in this week. So those drivers all have already taken some top spots. Matthews finished 3rd in that Legends entry, winning himself 9. So, I mean, he could still win some more here tonight. And Al, we all know it goes right back into the virtual race car for a lot of these drivers. What does that kind of money really mean to an iRacer?
Yeah, you can upgrade some sim parts. You can upgrade, maybe some pedal parts. Or you just use it for your practice servers. These drivers will probably 20 to 30 hours a week on the sim, not under racing conditions, just under setup R&D here. So as now Morgan works to the outside around the 72 of Kuhn, that's the battle for 3rd. Not much of a battle. Kuhn will now give up the 3rd position behind the 112 of Morgan. These tires seem to be under Morgan's likings a little bit better. Now how hard will the 18 push to get around Matthews? Now he knows the 112 is coming. The 112 led 124 laps early on in this event. He's looking to get back to your race lead. Here comes Edwards to the back bumper. He'll try to cut it low off turn number 2.
Edwards has to go now. It is go now or wait for those tires to equalize out, and then you're just going to be trailing. You're just going to be following the leader, I think. Matthews, a little bit of a bobble, but was able to hold on to the power that time out of turn number 4. Edwards just nowhere to go right now. Morgan has got around Kuhn as you saw that happen. But Morgan has not been able to close the gap then here to Austin Edwards. It's still just under a second between those two drivers, calling about 8 to 10 car lengths. Here comes Edwards now into turn number 1. He'll dive it down to the bottom here on the 51M, and now they will do side-by-side jigging out of turn number 2 for the race lead.
Matthews with a little bit of a wiggle. He's got the momentum on the outside, but here comes where Edwards has been strong since the green flag is dropped down on the bottom of the speedway, but Matthews going to hold off for your race lead.
As they did that, Devin Morgan was able to actually close the gap just a little bit, so now he's just a half a second behind the race leader. We talked about that earlier in the race. You know, you get dancing side by side, and the guy that's way behind you or out in front of you, those gaps are going to grow or shrink, and that gap there between third and second is now starting to shrink. Morgan is coming.
Yeah, Morgan definitely knows the pay window is starting to get lubed up, so does everybody on the racetrack. Top 3 drivers will get paid out here tonight as they work off of turn number 4. Matthews with a back bumper full of Edwards, but all eyes are on the 112 of Morgan. Your early race leader dominated the early event, and now trying to find a way back to the front. Edwards sideways off turn number 2.
As Edward was sideways, that's going to let Morgan close in once again to the back end of Matthews. These drivers are pushing it at this point. Slider has now entered pit road. I'm not sure if this is a scheduled stop here for the driver on the number 15 out of Michigan, the Rike's lawn care entry to pit road here on lap 181 out of the 251 scheduled. As you see the race leaders go around, they will put him officially 1 lap down.
Yeah, tough break for the Dustin Slider entry down on pit road as now Edwards really starting to put the pressure to the back bumper of Matthews. He sees the 112 getting ever so bigger in the rear view mirror here as they work around the Myrtle Beach Speedway.
Right to the back bumper there, coming out of turn number 4 for Ryan Matthews. Edwards right to the bumper of Matthews. Now the bumper has been given to him. A little bit of a bumper from Edwards to Matthews. A little bit of a block down the back straightaway, and now they will go side by side as Edwards shows the front bumper to the 51M.
Just over 60 laps left to go here in this main event. Edwards to the bottom. He'll dive it down low. Matthews on the outside. They'll rub doors off turn number 2.
They come down the back straightaway here, and now we will see, will that inside lane prevail here for Austin Edwards? And it will not. Matthews will be able to hang on to the race lead here with just coming to get, I believe, about 70 laps, a little around 70 laps to go here.
Yeah, 70 laps to go as they work down in the turn numbers 3, and we saw the bumper tap happen. The chrome horn might be starting to be applied. It's now it's a 3-car battle at the front of this one. Morgan is there. He's restarted 6 on his restart. He is now caught your top 2 as they work down the backstretch.
As they work down the back straightaway, now nose to tail for the first through third position. There you see Devin Morgan working the outside groove here. Getting a pass-along note here. The driver of the 15 blew a seal on the motor of that Barber Ford number 15. Sometimes they just don't build them like they used to, Al. Right now, that Toyota is out front winning as all these Fords are trailing.
Yeah, down the front stretch, clicking off lap 187, working lap 188. Matthews showing the way in that car number 51 and the Carbon Racing Solutions S&M Automotive entry. He's got the back bumper is full of the 18 of Edwards, and now Morgan's got company back there for the in the third spot.
We're going to see, though, I believe Goon may be sitting back there. I think he's just kind of lurking in the background. He saw what kind of speed Austin Edwards had on that long run on the first segment. I think he's sitting back here just kind of biding his time, as you see a little bit of a wiggle that time out of turn number 4 for the driver of the 72. He's hanging on to it. It looks like Higgins is possibly going to go another lap down here, as he is running in the 6th spot, 1 lap down.
Yeah, Higgins got the wave around here, trying to, and then caught an early yellow. He got able to put some fresh tires on that number 8 car, and he's got the leaders who are throwing haymakers back there for your race lead. Edwards once again in the back bumper of Matthews, not able to do anything with him. The 112 of Morgan up the back bumper as well. Now Edwards trying to get to the outside of Matthews off turn number 4.
Not going to make it happen as they're coming up on lap traffic here. This could be the moment that Edwards wants to pounce out of turn 2. You see a little bit of a gap there between the Carbon Solution driver and this Lucas Oil machine. Now, turn 4 really seems to be a good spot for Austin Edwards. He closed the gap, but off of turn number 4, a great run by Matthews. There goes Higgins to the outside. Your race leaders now will battle down into turn number 1 as Matthews now has a clear sail ahead of him.
Yeah, Matthews able to get some clean air back on the front of his Toyota as they work off turn number 4 to put lap 193 into the books as they work here. And we can see that 18 of Edwards just stalking them, able to rotate the corner a little bit better. At some point, that 30 lap difference in tires might start to show, but clean air is key to these super late models right now as they work off the corner. And Ryan Kuhn watching all this battle right there in front of him, hoping maybe they'll take each other out.
Yeah, and I've noticed a couple laps now, Al. This 72 of Kuhn, he has started to pull back the race leaders, coming to get just over 50 laps to go as, almost contact between the top 3. It looks like now the 18 of Edwards bobbles off of turn number 4. Here comes that third place machine of Morgan, but he is not going to be able to do with anything of it. He has to fall back.
Yeah, couldn't able to do anything there. Has to gather back up. Knows that the 18 of Edwards is really pushing Matthews hard, so maybe giving himself some room just in case something does happen between your top 2. As Matthews still leads it here as we are quickly closing in on the 50 lap to go mark.
So Matthews, Edwards, Morgan running 1, 2, 3, nose to tail with a little bit of a gap back to Ryan Kuhn. The gap, though, between your leader all the way back to Kuhn is just sitting at 1 second, so it is down from what it was earlier. It was a little over a second and a half. Kuhn is definitely coming here with getting closer to that 50 to go marker. RS Center still back here in his machine. Looks like his crew has been able to beat and bang the fenders of this 110 machine back out, the RS trucking machine. RS still running in 5th is where he's been all night long. Rob Higgins has moved up 3 spots so far in the checkered flag auto supply. Number 8, and it looks like there is definitely right front fender damage on his entry.
Yeah, I believe that happened when he went to the high side, got up into the marbles, and I believe the car just slid up and kissed the outside retaining wall off of turn number 2. No harm, no foul. Sometimes it helps cool that right front tire down here on the super late model in the iRacing service here as he works through turn 22. Really figured out the line. Looks really, really good this time off turn number 2.
So he'll work down the back straightaway into turn 3, and he'll figure right now his spotter is telling him he needs 50 hard ones, 50 hard laps yet for Higgins. He is being right now scored ahead of Korolacki, who's running back here into the 7th position, the 911 driver. They are on the same lap, Higgins and Korolacki. Right now, though, Korolacki's just about, call it 4 seconds, 5 seconds back behind the Higgins Hill Racer. That is your 7 drivers that are on the speedway right now here to try and complete the 251 laps. Is back to the race lead, and it's still Ryan Matthews, Austin Edwards, Devin Morgan, who are your top 3. Kuhn is right there. Al, he is coming.
He has. He's been quit inside the top 3 for the fastest laps the last half a dozen laps here as they work off of turn numbers 1 and 2. Last time by ran a 52 to the leaders 48, so a little bit off, but these drivers are really knowing that it is getting ready to go time. 50 laps to go. How much was Kuhn saving here? As now Edwards will go to the outside on Matthews in turn number 1.
Not going to be able to make it stick as he'll have to dive back down to the bottom. He can make those moves, but he has to remember Devin Morgan is right there. The top 3 pay, and right now it's Matthews, Edwards, Morgan. What can Austin Edwards do? The California kid. Is he going to go California dreaming here tonight? He's already laid the bumper to the back bumper there of Ryan Matthews. Will he do it again? The pay window will start to open here in just a little bit with still running 18, just under 19-second laps. It's 18-2 last time by for your race leader, or 18-9-2 actually for your race leader last time by. So Matthews still, sideways out of 2.
Gave a little bit of contact off turn number 2. Edwards all over the back bumper. Had to slam the door shut on the 112 of Morgan. Now Edwards will go to the inside at the line. Matthews will still be your race leader here, but new race leader in the turn number 1. Matthews up the racetrack, muscled up there as the 18 of Edwards will try to clear him. Can't quite do it in the turn 3.
There goes side by side once again down into turn number 3 and 4. As now Austin Edwards is trying his hardest to get that 18 to the front and keep it there. Morgan doesn't know which way to go. Now Edwards will nose ahead, and he might be able to clear himself out of turn number 2. He will not. The 51M fights back on the outside.
Yeah, the momentum on the outside for the 51M of Matthews doing a good job. That time couldn't quite slam the door shut once again, as the 18 of Edwards will get credited for leading lap number 208. This is a good battle up at the front of this one. Kuhn watching it from back there and forth, trying to pedal as fast as he can, as Matthews really working the outside of the speedway on those older tires. Just not quite good enough yet, but trying to pin down the 18 of Edwards to the inside. Half a car at the line.
Matthews was into the outside wall with that right front fender of the 51M Carbon Solution entry. Now here comes Devin Morgan. Morgan will get by for the second position. Matthews has to fall back from the race lead. Now he is running in the third spot with Ryan Kuhn right there, though. Hot to trot. It is a 4-car battle here with under 50 laps to go at the Myrtle Beach Speedway.
Yeah, 40 laps to go. Next time by at the line is now Edwards shows the way. The 112 of Morgan up to second. Matthews runs third. Kuhn fourth is now Morgan. Gonna go to the outside. Morgan trying to work to the outside of the 18 of Edwards. Couldn't do anything with him off turn number 4. He'll settle back in line in the turn number 1.
As they go back single file, though, Edwards and Morgan both on the same tire run strategy. They both came down on lap 157, 158 to put tires on their super late models for the final time. They don't have any more tires left, so at this point they want to run this out all the way to the checkered flag. They have led both these drivers have led the most laps here tonight, as they now have control of this field, as they are starting to pull away from Ryan Matthews in that 51M. Morgan up the track again in turn number 3. We've seen that all night long, where he has kind of taken a different line on the exit of turn 4, trying to really hold the momentum to go down the straightaway. As out of turn 2, it's still the front 2 nose to tail, and a little bit of a gap back to Matthews and Kuhn.
Yeah, the 30 laps in difference in the tires, I think, is what we're seeing right now. Last time by, Edwards ran a 47, 49 for Morgan, and a 48 for Matthews. So the tires kind of evened out a little bit, but just right now, Edwards with a little bit fresher grip underneath that number 18, showing the way. Matthews and Kuhn are going to start battling it out for the third and final pay window.
Top 3 pay here tonight, and right now that final position is Ryan Matthews. Ryan Kuhn's right there sitting in that 4th spot. He just needs one more spot, but does he have what it takes to go up there and take it? As Morgan would like to take this top spot from Austin Edwards. He'll peek back to the outside, this time out of turn number 4. He will pull side by side. He is there for the race lead.
Side by side down in the turn numbers 1 and 2. Don't give the outside to Morgan is what the 18's hearing. I don't think he has a choice. Morgan in the outside fence in the turn 3.
Now he's going to have to rebound going into turn number 3, and let's see, will he be able to fire back that Barber Ford? 112 to the outside. He does. He pulls side by side at the line, and they will go down into turn number 1, still side by side, but the inside a little better through the center of the corner. Edwards got good rotation, but a great run by Morgan off of turn 2, as now they enter turn 3, still battling wheel to wheel.
Morgan gonna come off the corner. He'll take the race lead off turn number 4. New race leader on lap 218. Devin Morgan using the outside of the speedway to get around Edwards. Edwards fighting back to the inside.
As this battle rages for that top position, they are still pulling away from Matthews and Kuhn back there. Both Ryan starting to fade here in the late stages of this one. Morgan, though, not able to hold the bottom that time, but neither was Edwards. As both drivers slid themselves just a little bit out of turn number 4. Now they pulled even back down into turn number 1 as they exit turn 2, though. It looks like Devin Morgan has just a better run off the corner coming out of turn 2, but Edwards able to fight back in turn number 4.
Yeah, Morgan now going to take sole possession. Edwards going to tuck it back in line behind the Barber Ford entry of Devin Morgan as they work through turns 1 and 2. And it'll be Morgan leading the way down the backstretch. Remember, we saw him spin and get the outside wall just on lap 157 here. Is now Edwards trying to figure out as Morgan slams the outside wall on the front stretch.
Yeah, a little bit of a bump then by Edwards going down into turn number 1. To the back bumper of the Morgan entry as we ride on board here with the Barber Ford onboard camera. That splash and go graphics. 112 by Morgan right now is hanging on to the race lead, but can he hold it there? The laps are starting to really close down, and before we know it, it's going to be within the final 5 laps as these drivers have now opened themselves up a 1-second gap over the third place runner, the 51M of Ryan Matthews.
That's a good battle back here for your third and final spot on the podium. Ryan Kuhn has gone all over the back bumper of Ryan Matthews. One car smoke up here on the front stretch. I'm not quite sure who that was. But anyway, we stay clean and green down the backstretch. Matthews showing the way. How much did he use those tires, and will Kuhn be able to get around them?
Don't know, but it looks like more contact there between the race leaders. Here comes Austin Edwards back down to the inside in turn number 1. They're approaching a lap down car, Brian Korolacki. They could use this as a pick right now. It is B. Morgan still hanging on to it, but now Edwards has started to run a little bit of a different groove. Now he'll peek back to the inside, a little sideways action for the Lucas Oil driver.
Yeah, right now, Edwards trying to figure out, is Korlicki going to really hold up the 112 of Morgan? Get sideways in front of your race leader. Contact! Yellow flag is out with 25 laps to go. Morgan nowhere to go, and looks like the 911 of Korlicki just got loose in front of your race leader, and around went the 911.
So that will throw the biggest monkey wrench of the weekend in here as the yellow flag flies with just 25 laps to go. Brian Korolacki will get the 911 refired as there was contact between the 7th place car and P number 1. Well, let's go back and see if we can catch this. There you see the 911 to the outside. He just gets sideways right in front of the race leader. The race leader was going to go to the inside and nowhere to go. Korolacki smacks the inside wall with the 911 machine and then has to get it refired. But that's going to change the whole complexion of this race. Let's see if we can go back and ride on board. I believe we have the onboard camera here with your race leader of Devin Morgan. Yeah, there was just nowhere Devin Morgan was going to go as he was battling with Edwards for that battle for the race lead, coming up on that lap car faster than possibly Korolacki thought they were really running him down.
Yeah, Korolacki just kind of in where no man wants to be there. He had the race leaders running side by side behind him, trying to get out of the way. Just got loose off the corner. But interesting to note here, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, Ryan Matthews, Ryan Kuhn, and RS Center all came back down pit road to put on their final tires. Your top 2 might be sitting ducks here with the closing stages.
Yeah, I was just looking at that because those are some old tires now for Devin Morgan and Austin Edwards. They were battling very hard for the race lead, and now all of a sudden, they have already used the tires up. They don't have an extra set in the pits. There was only 2 sets available here tonight for these drivers, and they used them. And now, a late caution will line us back up here with about 20 laps to go. Things may look a little different here towards the end of this one. As the caution lights stay on, Rob Higgins is down on pit road. I don't believe he's going to beat the pace car to the line, so he'll have to wait. Flagman going to tell him to stop with his checkered flag auto supply machine, so he'll go a lap down to the race leaders here again. Right now, Higgins is running into that 6th spot, but boy, oh boy, it could be Ryan Coons or Ryan Matthews, maybe RS Center, sitting in the catbird seat here because they got the fresh tires. Edwards and Morgan are going to be on very old tires. We're going to see how much tires really mean here in just a couple of seconds.
Yeah, an interesting note here. We were just past the note last week. This is probably the last big event that you're going to see at the current configuration of the super late model. They are supposedly getting an update this week, Roger, and where the current physics are going to change for these drivers. So interesting to see how these drivers are going to handle it here. And missing this main event by 1 week with the new physics and configuration for the super late models. Can Devin Morgan and Edwards hold off Matthews and Kuhn? They are back there in row number 2. We are going to find out here. Old tires versus new tires. Almost 160 laps difference on tires as the green flag's back out. Morgan hard on the pedal. The 18 of Edwards spins the tires on the restart.
That's going to put Edwards now into a 3-wide battle, and he's the car to the outside. RS Center's going to come to the bottom groove. Does he have anything left in the RS Center trucking machine? It will be Edwards going from the outside row, sitting 2nd all the way back to the 5th position now. The new tires are just too strong for Austin Edwards to hang on.
Center and Edwards side by side. The Center will take that position. Now Matthews all over the back bumper of Morgan. Morgan going to try to make that Ford Mustang as wide as possible, but here comes Ryan Kuhn. Kuhn going to the marbles off of turn number 2. He'll pull even with Matthews down in the turn 2.
Yeah, now down into turn number 1. Here comes Ryan Matthews now to the bottom in the 51M. He is going to pull even with Morgan down the back straightaway. Here comes Ryan Kuhn along with him. They know that they have the 2 strongest cars at this point in the race because those fresh tires are going to be the determining factor here tonight. And they want to get this pass done early and often because they don't want to sit here and mess around with any of these drivers to possibly get tangled up in something late in this one. It's going to be just 16 laps to go next time by, as it is still Morgan hanging to the outside with his Ford Mustang. And that Toyota down to the bottom will lead this time by. 16 laps to go. Ryan Matthews in the 51M is our race leader.
Matthews is going to take the lead away from Morgan. Morgan doing a good job of the defensive move, moving to the outside of the speedway, trying to keep the momentum down, keeping the guys pinned to the bottom, but the new tire is just too strong. Matthews going to lead at the line.
Yeah, look at RS Center, though. He has now come to the party all of a sudden. They pumped up the tire pressure, and they told the young man, go get it. Bring us home a top 3 finish here tonight, RS. And he said, well, we'll see what we're going to do. We're going to send her. So he licks the stamp. He sends it down to the bottom. Contact there from center to the back bumper of the 72 of Kuhn.
2 even rows of 2x2 racing to the corner. Kuhn goes to the high side. Center going to crossover move off of turn number 2. Center going for 3rd. Center to the inside of Kuhn is the top 4 drivers battle side by side off turn number 4.
It'll be Ryan Matthews, though, just about able to clear the 112 of Devin Morgan that time, but Morgan's able to fire it back down. Now RS Center does take the 3rd spot, and he'll roll the bottom. Can he force the 51M of Matthews to get around that 112 of Devin Morgan, as it'll be just 12 laps to go? 5 drivers still have a chance here tonight for night number 4 for Not the Battle at the Myrtle Beach Speedway.
Morgan doing a lot better than I thought he would with the new tires working underneath them. Center now trying to take that number 2 spot away from Morgan. And Kuhn in line as well. Morgan drives it in deep on the outside. He'll pull back even to the 51M of Matthews. Morgan holding the outside of the line very good in his number 112. Kuhn going to go to the 3rd lane in turns 1 and 2.
RS Center hopped the turtles just a little bit. Their contact then for the 3rd position between RS Center and Ryan Kuhn, as they're still side by side for the race lead. They're still side by side for 3rd also, and it's now 10 laps to go. The final 10 laps here. Just 5 more miles of racing at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway here for Not the Battle. Don't count out Austin Edwards yet, though. He is just sitting back there lurking in the background. He could still play spoiler here tonight for night number 4.
Definitely good. Matthews working to the inside of the speedway underneath Devin Morgan. Morgan now starting to draw back even with Matthews. There's a good battle back there. They are evened up off the corner. Kuhn with a momentum on the outside. He'll pull even with the 110 of Centers. Battles all around the speedway. All 5 cars underneath the blinking off turn number 4.
More contact there between RS Center and Ryan Kuhn as we ride on board with the BK Paints onboard camera with Austin Edwards. That outside lane now maybe checking up. There you see Ryan Kuhn go down to the bottom to try and follow RS Center. Center not able to hold the bottom groove this time by. We are closing in, and we are about to have a great finish here tonight at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway.
Next time by, it'll be 6 laps to go. Morgan holding on to 2nd. RS Center down at the bottom. Matthews just can't quite clear. He'll do it now into turn number 3. Matthews clears Morgan, but Morgan sails it in on the outside. Morgan trying to get the Barber Ford 112 to victory lane. Matthews on the inside. Contact between Kuhn and Center for your 3rd position.
RS Center was almost pointed into the wrong direction. That would have been down there onto the grass. Ryan Kuhn trying to crossover move out of turn number 4. He will not this time by at the flag stand. From the flagman, it's going to be a high 5 to all these drivers here tonight. 5 more laps here for Not the Battle. 251 lap main event, and it has come down to 5 drivers, 2 on old tires. Oh, contact there. Center hard into the outside wall.
That'll put Edwards hard in the outside wall. Yellow flag not coming out. We stay clean and green with 4 laps to go. Matthews, Morgan, and Center, your top 3.
With 4 laps to go, now it's Ryan Matthews who leads this with Devin Morgan sitting there in 2nd. Ryan Kuhn all by himself, kind of, sort of. Maybe not. RS Center's back there. It'll be 3 laps to go this time by at the line. It is Matthews, Morgan, Kuhn, Center, your top 4 right now. And I think that RS Center machine has a ton of damage, more than we can see on our camera here tonight.
Yeah, he went down in the turn number 1, 2 laps to go, went straight up to the wall. It allowed the 72 of Kuhn to get back by. Matthews out front open up over 0.6 laps, or 0.6 of a second lead over Morgan. Morgan settles into the second spot. That might be where he has to settle as new tires are showing the way. This time by the white silk will fly.
Coming out of turn number 4, the white flag is in the air at the flag stand. One more time to go around this it's just a half mile actually here at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway. 3 nights of racing are in the books, coming to a conclusion here for night number 4. Ryan Matthews, the young man in the 51M, he will win the big show here at the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway. It'll be Devin Morgan, Ryan Kuhn, RS Center, Austin Edwards, your top 5 finishers. And then it's going to be Rob Higgins and Brian Korlacki, Dustin Slider, and Ty Leclerc rounding out your 9-car field here. But boy, what a race that was here to the end of this one. And it will be Ryan Matthews going to victory lane after 151 laps here from the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway. So Ryan Matthews burns it down. We'll take the step away here, and we will set up for your Rike's Lawn Care and Scaping post-race show. The 51M of Ryan Matthews and his crew are just going to continue to burn them down here tonight. Don't go anywhere, race fans. Hear what they have to say after this event. Welcome back here, race fans, to the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway for Not the Battle. The 251-lap main event is officially already come to a conclusion. A great race here at Myrtle Beach. Saw great racing action, especially towards the end here. And let's get down here trackside into the Rike's Lawn Care and Scaping victory lane and talk to our winner here tonight. We have Ryan Matthews already on the hooks. Ryan, tonight the car looked pretty quick in practice. It looked good in qualifying. And then when it came race time, it seemed like you were sitting right there, the second, third, fourth place driver through the first stages of this race. It was a pretty calm first couple stages, but walk us through those final, call it 20 laps of this event here. It went from looking like maybe a third place finish to a winner circle finish here for you.
Yeah, we just rode pretty much the majority of the race, just keeping the tires under it, and you know, it's such a long race, so so much can happen. So we're just focused on keeping the car in one piece and keeping the tires on it, and then we took tires at the halfway break, and we had a caution a little bit after that some people took another set of tires. So I think it was me and Ryan were both on a little bit older tires that towards the end of the race, but then we had a lap car get together with the leader Devin, and that brought us another caution, so we went in and took tires, and I think we had like probably 100 lap fresher tires and everything, so than everyone else, and so we just rode behind Devin there and got around the 18 car, and then I got under Devin, but the car just would shove so much in the center, and I just couldn't do anything. So I just really couldn't clear him. The outside kind of works here if the car is right. So Devin was able to stay on my outside, and but we were able to pull away with it.
Yeah, able to come down to the end of it. Were you worried at any point, though, running that inside lane, that you might get close to the turtles into the inside wall there in 3 and 4? We've seen a couple drivers tonight kind of play and flirt with the disaster points of this very tricky half-mile speedway. Were you worried at all about that? Were you worried about Devin Morgan maybe holding you down there, getting too close?
Yeah, I was worried about the turtles because I hit those a lot, especially when, you know, they're always there and it can mess your car up. So you just got to worry about those. But you know, it was definitely a good race. I was sweating a lot there the last 20 laps. So yeah,
But either way, you were able to hang on, and you're going to win the big payday here tonight in the main event here on Sunday. Congratulations to that, Ryan, a very accomplished iRacer here. Who do you got to thank, though, on this 51M? We know it's a slew of sponsors on the side of this Toyota.
yeah, I got to thank Ludic Matthews Racing, Russell Brown, and Devin Morgan for putting the setup together like 20 minutes before the race. It was pretty good, and I got to thank Carbon Racing Solutions, S&M Auto Service, Pemberton Forest Products, James River Nurseries, and that's about it. Thank you all for broadcasting, and Dreamer Racing Series for putting this on.
Well, there you heard it from the driver of the 51M, the Carbon Solutions sponsored entry here tonight. He will go to victory lane. He will now party and be able to claim to fame that he was the last one to win a paid race on the iRacing.com platform with this version of the super late model. So congratulations to Ryan Matthew and the whole crew over there. They will now be able to, well, afford another, well, virtual iRacing rim, I'm going to say, Al. That's pretty much what that payday is going to probably go to, something virtually here on his sim rig.
Yeah, probably. And one driver that's going to come up just short here tonight after a valiant effort on the outside on some, well, not even tires, is Devin Morgan. Devin, what a race for you, leading the most laps here tonight, just coming up one spot short.
Yeah, we had a really good car the entire time. I put too much fuel in it there at the halfway point, and it really made me freeze, so I had to come in and adjust on it. But we got it back right. Got the lead there with a little bit of strategy, and I was thinking we were probably going to go to the end, and just an unfortunate situation with the lapper brought out the yellow, and it had us being a sitting duck.
Yeah, talk us through that incident. You were racing pretty hard with the 18 of Edwards off of turn number 2, and you had the lap traffic in front of you. Kind of just a bad situation that just looked like it came there. What did you see from your vantage point?
Yeah, I felt like I'd just break free from the 18. I was going to start pulling away from him. And then the 911, I think it was, gave me a lane on the bottom. And I thought he was going to go all the way up to the wall. And I gave him the room to. But it looked like he just spun the tires and got loose. And he started coming down the racetrack. So I just hooked a ride. And I guess you could say finished him off to save myself. But, you know, we're able to keep the lead there. And that played big into being able to hold off Ryan or stay on the outside for the longest possible and bring it home P2.
Yeah, that was a pretty impressive battle you put up on the outside. Did you go into the outside once Matthews got to your inside? Was that pretty much your last ditch effort, you feel, for holding on to try to get the win here tonight?
Yeah, I knew you know, maybe 20 old lap tires, I might be able to have a chance. But with I don't even know the exact number. I knew I didn't have a chance. I just was going to try to hold on as long as possible and wait for the battle to brew behind us, and hopefully that they have an incident, in which they did. But I feel like I'm one of the best at running the top on the sim and the super, especially here at Myrtle. So yeah, that was all I could do to stay right there in the quarter.
Well, you had a good race there. We saw, you know, a little bit after halfway break, the car get out from underneath you. But other than that, one little miscue, a pretty solid night for you to come home with a pretty decent payday for after 251 laps here.
Yeah, definitely. It was a long race. I'm surprised there wasn't more cars, but we had a good race for the cars that we did have, and you know, I'm glad that they put it on.
Well, before we let you go here and get to the rest of your Sunday, who makes it all possible for you, and who got you here tonight on the podium?
My mom, my dad, MPM Marketing, Wiley X Glasses, Old South Trailers. I gotta thank Leduc Matthews, Russell Brown Race Cars, and Ryan for, helping on the set, getting this thing right for tonight. I gotta thank Dreamer Racing Series, Barber Ford, and all my real life sponsors.
There you have it, Roger. That's your second place finisher, the driver out of Greensville, South Carolina. That's Devin Morgan coming home in the runner-up spot, and I believe you've caught up with the driver who's finished third.
Coming home third here tonight, he was in victory lane a little bit earlier in the week. Tonight, though, Ryan, it's not going to be that. It's going to be a third-place finish. It's still a good run. Talk us through those final stages of this event.
Yeah, I struggled with the car a little bit. I missed it a little bit, but I think we could have had a better car. We were way too tight, but it looked like we had a little netcode contact with RS at the end. It is what it is, and but stuff happens. I think we had a really good shot to win it, but I definitely freed it up in the pits a lot. I went about 5 rounds to the left on the spring perch offset, and the thing was really good there at the end, but unfortunate circumstances happen, and we'll take a P3.
Yeah, that hard-nosed racing there for the end of this event. It wasn't just, those new tires. It looked like the new tires were quick at the end, but Devin Morgan and Austin Edwards were both able to hang on there. Did you think when you came down with just about 20 laps to go to put those tires on that those drivers that didn't have any more tires left in their pits were going to even be a factor at the end?
Here you never know, because this track, it feels like there's not a lot of tire fall off, and when you put new tires on, it definitely gets a lot tighter, and I saw Matthews down there a little tight on the bottom, but it is what it is. I was going to think about going 3 wide there, but I made a little mistake off 2 and gave the bottom to RS, and kind of ruined my shot to win, but it is what it is. I'm not really looking forward to their tire model, but I guess we'll have to deal with it on Wednesday, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that new tire model is coming, Ryan. So this is the final time on this tire model, and you come home third. There's a lot to do here on a Sunday. So who do you got to thank for this podium finish tonight?
I'd like to thank Ryan Kuhn Motorsports, all my teammates, Bernier's Liquors, Everett's Auto Parts, Modern Auto Body, you guys in the booth, everyone who put this entire weekend together. You guys did an unbelievable job, and a lot of green flag racing. That's what I absolutely love out of any type of racing, and it was truly unbelievable.
Well, there you heard it from the man that comes home third. He was able to win night number 1, and he was in contention right here up until the closing laps. The young man out of East Bridgewater, Massachusetts, Ryan Coons, finishes third here tonight. Al, it's been a long 4 days of racing here from the virtual Myrtle Beach Speedway. We saw 4 different winners. Ryan Coons winning the Legends, Austin Edwards winning the late model stock, Parker Ritzloff winning the SK, and now Ryan Matthews. 4 different series, 4 different nights with 4 different winners.
And what a way to cap it off with an exciting finish here to tonight's Not the Battle 251 presented by the Dreamer Series and the Rike's Lawn Care and Scaping LLC here, Roger. What an amazing finish. I'm glad I was able to come in for the super late models, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, it was a great show all week long. We got to thank everybody that was behind the scenes that made this all possible. All the gentlemen over at Rike's Lawn Care and Scaping, all the drivers over there in the BK paint stable. Brent does a great job. I got myself a paint from him a couple weeks back, and it's a beautiful super late model. You can find that you can see it right on their Facebook page. We also got to thank the guys over at Barber Ford. You're looking for a new Ford, a used Ford, maybe something a little more classier to haul your rig around? Head on over to Barber Ford. They can get you pointed in a brand new 2020 or brand new 2021 as they're starting to roll out all around the country. But we also got to thank everybody over at the Dreamer Racing Series. So for all of everybody, it totally makes sense. For everybody over at the Dreamer Racing Series, for everybody here at the Turn 3 Racing Network, we hope you enjoyed the 4 nights of racing here, and we can't wait to see every driver back out onto the iRacing surface sometime. And for everybody tuning in all around the world, we thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoyed this presentation on the Turn 3 Racing Network.